Hello and welcome back to our training. Thank you for taking a moment to watch this video. And on this particular training, we are going to continue configuring and setting up our Zap. This is our Zap that we're creating for all of the appointments that get generated by our appointment setting team. So we've already talked about how to create the webhook. We've tested that webhook. We've confirmed that data is flowing back to the Zap. And now we need to tell Zapier what to do with that information. And as a reminder, we're going to take that information, all of the appointment data, and we're going to log that as an appointment in our Google Doc so that our QA team can review each appointment that gets set to make sure that it qualifies and either approve or deny it. So now we're going to take that sample call and make sure it gets logged in our Google Doc. So let's jump back over to Zapier and click Continue. And so our action step is going to be our Google Sheet. And in this particular case, we're going to create a spreadsheet row. We're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to choose our account. Continue. Now we're going to set up our actions. So we're going to go ahead and choose my drive. We got to choose our spreadsheet. And we need to choose our worksheet. Choosing our appointments worksheet. And now we need to map the data that we just captured in our trigger step, our catch hook, to all of the columns in our Google spreadsheet. So the first thing is the user. We need to log which user, which of our team members made the call or set that appointment. We're going to go in here and review the catch hook details, and we're going to find the agent's first name, space, agent last name. Now the first name, this is not our agent first name, this is the contact's first name. And it was Sally. And then the contact's last name was Sample. We're going to capture the phone number as well. We're going to use contact phone. Grab the email. Now I want to point out there's a difference between contact emails and then there's like contact primary email or something like that. Between phone numbers and phones, each contact record in PhoneBurner is allowed to have multiple emails or multiple phone numbers. And so what you want to make sure that you're thinking through when you're logging this information in another system is which of these fields do you want to map over. If your contacts could potentially have multiple email addresses, then you want to use the contact primary email because that's going to be the one that's visible in the dial session window. Same with the phone number. If you choose contact phone, that's going to be the one that was called during that dial session at the time that disposition was clicked. If you did contact phones, then it's going to take every phone number associated with that contact. And we do want to make sure that the recording is available for our QA team. So we're going to make sure that we grab that. And what we want to do is with the recordings, there's a few options here. You want to grab the recording URL that is public. That way anybody can listen to it whether they're logged into PhoneBurner or not. We're going to grab the notes that, that our team member may have created during the dial session. Now we're not going to update QA review or notes because that's going to be updated by the QA team when they're reviewing it. But we do want to log the date, and I'm going to log the date as the start time of the call, duration of the call, the result of the call, that's going to be the status. Was it connected? Now, obviously, if it was a set appointment, it should be a connected call, but I just wanted to point out that that is a data point that you can capture when you're feeding data from PhoneBurner, call activity data from PhoneBurner back to whatever CRM that you're using. Total calls. This can be a good data point for you to log so that you can start to identify how many calls it typically takes for your team to connect with somebody and to schedule that appointment. And dial session ID, this is something that you may not necessarily need to capture, but it's nice to have the dial session ID if you ever needed to go back and research that or have our support team research that call in any way. And if you've been watching all of the other videos, then you know our lead ID, that's a unique identifier that we would take from any external CRM and log that, store that information in PhoneBurner so that after each call is made in PhoneBurner, we can make sure and be certain that we're updating the correct record in our external CRM. And then the PhoneBurner contact ID, that's the internal ID. That's the unique identifier on the PhoneBurner system. So if we ever need to update the record back in PhoneBurner, we want to have that. And that's actually going to become important later on in this training. So anyway, we have now mapped everything out for this step of our ZAP. We've got the information from step 1 where the call was made. Now we need to log this information in our Google Sheet. So let's go ahead and continue. And we're going to test this. So go ahead and click Test and Review. And we should see that logged as we do. You saw how fast that came in. And now our QA team can review the call recording. They can make their notes and they can set it to either approved or denied, which we're going to come back to in a minute. And that's it. We have now logged that appointment outcome from PhoneBurner in our external CRM, which in this case, of course, is our Google Sheet. And that's it for this particular training video, but make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the videos because we're going to be talking about how we can take the information from our QA team and get that information sent back to PhoneBurner to either close out that record in PhoneBurner or put that record back into queue to continue being called because it was denied. So thanks for taking a moment to watch this video and happy dialing.